Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. You're probably looking at the title of this video and thinking, I don't know where this video is going, but I'm already not liking it. Well, all I have to say is we're going to go down that avenue and we're going to talk about it because as you guys know, when it comes to Dynasty Warriors, there has been a lot of talk and anticipation lately for what KoeiTecmo and Omega 4 Studios are planning for the next Dynasty Warriors game. We haven't received any updates as to what the company's plans are for the next installment of one of its mainline, longest running franchises. But regardless, Koei still seems to be active with releases that have done really well in terms of feedback and profit. Mainly the recent releases of Wolong, Tokenrambu, with little to no news on the future of Dynasty Warriors, other than a promise letter for more news to come in 2024. So, in my eyes, that really begs the question, what could Dynasty Warriors 10 look like? What if it's made with the same art style or cell shade as Samurai Warriors 5? You may think it's unlikely or too soon to predict, perhaps, but we can't imagine what it would look like using this reshade filtering app and kind of adventure through what that possibly would mean for not only Koei, but Dynasty Warriors in general. In this video, we will discuss what Dynasty Warriors 10 could look like if given the Samurai Warriors 5 treatment. For starters, modern gaming has changed, and profitability over fan preference has been the driving force for not only Koei, but a lot of gaming companies to abandon certain or mainline IPs for more popular avenues that tend to dictate the market. But that leaves myself and fans alike to still wonder, what about Dynasty Warriors? Fans and critics alike didn't receive the last two installments very well. We'll start with Samurai Warriors 5. With the roster cut of roughly 55 characters to 37, and along with cloned movesets, designs, and pretty much a whole readaptation, I can see why it wasn't received very well, especially from classic fans. But overall, I thought the game was good. However, sales were nothing compared to Samurai Warriors 4 release if you really look at it. So was Koei just looking for a convenient way to make fans happy for a new Warriors game at the expense of a half-hearted or lackluster release? I'm not here to knock Samurai Warriors 5, honestly. I've put close to 40 hours into this game on Switch and bought the Season Pass at launch. I don't have much to say about the Season Pass. It was 9 overpowered weapons, some background music, and a couple DLC stages, but no costumes, really, no new characters, and no meaningful spin-off story elements that truly contributed to maybe another faction. Like, for real, Koei? I'm literally looking at the season pass of Wolong right now and thinking, like, what the tough guy. Now we're going to talk about some of the other recent mainline games for Koei, in particular Dynasty Warriors 9. As for that game, Koei took a different approach that was nothing like any previous Dynasty Warriors game. I see Dynasty Warriors 9 as a mixed bag of emotions, if you will. At times, the game feels really great and gives good visuals and a really strong feeling of what Han China was like during the Three Kingdoms era. I thought the character models were fine for the most part, but the open world caught me and a lot of fans off guard. Also, the new combat system. Though it was unique, it was also kind of strange for some of the more seasoned fans of the series, which technically brings me to my next point: target audience. It's clear with the last two installments, Koei was seeking to maybe branch out and attract new fans. The success of that reach can be questionable since gaming is more about personal preference, right? Meaning old fans maybe didn't like it, but some of the newer ones to Dynasty Warriors did, especially with the open world aspect. I see what Koei was trying to do though with Samurai Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 9. The focus for Koei recently seems to be capitalizing on current gaming trends and what's hot in the market. Where the market goes, you go. This is apparent with Koei's success in Wolong, right? Because after Elden Ring and the Souls-like game success, they just kind of took off in that genre, and people really like that type of challenge. Fate Samurai Remnant, highly based off the anime, of course, and that resonates with fans who have been fans of Fate, right? So they're more likely to look into a Koei avenue of a RPG element type of game. Same with the Atelier series, which has always been popular among fans, mind you, and various spin-offs and portability to the Switch has also been a big reason for that game's success, especially since it's a native Japanese console. Each one of these games carries RPG mechanics that resonate with modern and classic gamers alike, right? Both in the West and Japanese markets. Yet these games are still unique in their very own way, where you take control as a character, kind of build and customize around that said character, and the occasional limited or focused combat. These elements have never really been a big focus in like Dynasty or Samurai Warriors games. In fact, it's more of the opposite. With Warriors, it's little customization and onslaughts of combat and enemies to keep our iron thumbs cramped for hours. We love it, don't we? As Profar discussed in one of his more recent videos, Koei technically isn't jumping out of their seats to make new Dynasty and Samurai Warriors games. They know there is fans for it, sure, but is it profitable in their eyes? I believe it is, but maybe I carry a bias, right? Maybe we all do. And that's fine to an extent. You're supposed to support the games you love, especially when you've followed them for, 20 plus years like I have with Dynasty Warriors. But the reality is, companies change, and most importantly, people change, which means in turn, businesses, focuses, and visions change. I say all of that to say, I don't know what Dynasty Warriors 10 has in store. It's unpredictable what Koei will do, honestly. But what if they followed the trend with what they did with Samurai Warriors 5? Is it that crazy to think that Omega Force and KoeiTecmo want to maybe reimagine the Dynasty Warriors franchise like they did with Samurai Warriors? It's been mentioned by the president at Koei that the 1 versus 1,000 system might be a thing of the past for next-gen gaming, back when Samurai Warriors 5 was released in 2021. Makes me wonder, what if that motivation could be directed towards revamping the Dynasty Warriors franchise? That's all. Hence why I'm making this video. We certainly could expect like a PC port, especially a Switch port, being a priority upon release due to the influx of gamers that are buying those platforms, especially with how they handled Samurai Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires. Nothing I say today in this video carries any basis for what Koei's plans are for Dynasty Warriors 10, as news for the game itself still seems pretty vague and, quite frankly, unclear. So just throwing ideas out there and trying to predict the unpredictable for now. If Dynasty Warriors 10 takes a Samurai Warriors 5 approach or similar art style, we can anticipate a more focus-driven story with engaging cutscenes that really hone into the specific timeline within the Three Kingdoms era. This could mean a roster cut of characters that don't fit the focus timeline. Wouldn't be surprising. I don't see this as far off, because in the most recent update of Dynasty Warriors Mobile, they did just that. However many characters we had in Dynasty Warriors 9, which was close to 94 if I'm not mistaken, was cut down to 53. And you're probably thinking, yeah, Smiley, but that's a mobile game, right? And I say, well, so what? It's still a product of Koei, and they have a solid track record of cutting characters. I'm looking at you, Dynasty Warriors 6. Besides, mobile games are getting quite popular, and the market is growing for them, especially with phones being more powerful and built to last to handle gaming. I think Koei would be unwise to keep mobile developments out of their future plans, in my opinion. Anyway, if I were to predict what the basis of the story would be, I could see a focused story within the kingdom of Shu. Considering the newsletter we got for the news of future Dynasty Warriors game was all Shu characters riding a green dragon. Maybe it's a coincidence, but boy does Koei love Team Green. No surprise here, as this was the year of the dragon for 2024, with the sleeping dragon himself, Zhuge Liang, and Zhao Yun, whose mount is named the White Dragon. We often see Shu being portrayed as the good guys in Dynasty Warriors games anyway, restoring peace to the land, representing the little guy, a benevolent
Actually asking me to attack my own family?
A benevolent leader, the poster boy of the series, of course, Zhao Yun himself, and the god of war, Guan Yu, and Master Sensei, Zhuge Liang, and of course, drunken uncles, right? You get the point. This could take players on a journey across the formation and birth of the Shu kingdom, from, let's say, the birth of Shu within the Oath Garden, maybe focusing on the Brotherhood a little bit more to start, and eventually getting to Zhao Yun as kind of the main focal point of the story, but really getting into his character and development from various factions to Chang'an, even taking it as far as the Northern Campaign when Zhao Yun reaches the age of 70. However, there is so many avenues just within Shu alone. Personally, however, I would like to see a focused story driven on the kingdom of Wei, a powerful force with an array of mighty officers, especially the 5 elite generals within the Wei ranks. The story could progress through their formation or how they were chosen. There's also the Battle of Guandu, which was a really big significant part of Wei's conquering, especially Xia Pi, that would feature Lu Bu in the acquisition of Zhang Liao eventually. The story could also highlight the roots of Cao Cao's ambition and how he rose to a perennial power in the north. I think there's a lot of potential here, focusing on the rise of Wei and the eventual secession of Xiao Pi. Furthermore, detailing the fallout with Sima Yi and how the coup d'etat within Wei ultimately led to the formation of the Jin dynasty. Wu is a very family-driven kingdom, and that could benefit from a more detailed character depiction, especially within the family, specifically with Sun Ce, development as a leader, and then of course only to be replaced due to his sudden death by his little brother Sun Xuan. The story could also benefit from the fallout of Shu and Wu in the Ji province, Wei being the bigger threat. How a Sun sister left her literal family for the enemy. Again, there's a lot of potential for a deeper dive within these factions' stories. It's important to note also that the other smaller factions that we don't discuss much will certainly still feature characters from said kingdom. The likes of Yuan Shao, Dong Jiao, Lu Bu. These would feature in the main story and of course be playable, but maybe just in other game modes with, limited background or just a focused story elsewhere. It was quite the shock, of course, to not see Yukimura Sanada from previous games not be in Samurai Warriors 5, but still see the Takata Force and Renowned Cavalry be featured in the game and story. This could also open the door for hypothetical routes and missions within the story, which was a big feature in Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends that I really enjoyed. This could help keep the storyline interesting and could draw too much attention, away from the other characters within the story. Next, we're going to talk about combat. This topic is going to get a little edgy, so prepare yourself. With the potential shortened roster, I can totally see Koei keeping the basic combat mechanics from Dynasty Warriors 9 because I thought they were implemented pretty well. Since most of the characters share the same weapon anyway, they could refine movesets with specific characters. However, unlike Samurai Warriors 5, Dynasty Warriors has never done character swapping. Mid-battle, of course. It has, however, been common for a lot of Samurai Warriors games, going back to Samurai Warriors 3 and Samurai Warriors 4. So Koei could do what they always do, and that's right, you guessed it, weapon swapping. A very sly and devious way to bypass a needed work to refine the combat and characters in this series. This may even be a late addition to the game, if you will, or like an on-the-fly change if deadlines start getting pushed too much, especially if upper management is pushing the game developers to get the game ready by a certain release date. We see this all too common in modern gaming. Disconnected management pushing developers to release a product that's just not ready for consumers, only to continue to push out patch after patch until the Twittersphere stops rage tweeting. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, right? Especially for me and all fans. But it's been happening in the industry for a while now. For weapon swapping, it's been prevalent in the last 3 Warriors games, dating back to Dynasty Warriors 7. I don't know if I see it going anywhere. Now you might be thinking, great Smiley, so you probably think Dynasty Warriors 10 will have clones then too, don't you? And I say, yep, I do actually. Clones as in characters having different weapons visually, but the exact same moveset with no deviances hardly whatsoever. Again, it's been present in the last 3 Dynasty Warriors games, so I really don't think it's far off. And of course, most recently, Samurai Warriors 5. It's an easy way out for Koei, and they know it. It gives off implications to fans that you're getting a solid and versatile combat experience in the name of uniqueness, when in reality, it's just rehashed combos. Hence the term clones. Just like in Samurai Warriors 5, in particular with like Kenshin and Nobunaga using the katana, or Toshimeda and Takata using the Great Spear. I know a lot of what I said in this video is comment rage worthy. I welcome all discourse and feedback, of course. It helps the community grow, in my opinion. But with that being said, as much as I don't want to see Dynasty Warriors 10 get the Samurai Warriors 5 treatment, it's important to take a step back, if you will, and kind of look at what's happening in gaming. It's changing. As we discussed, philosophies and people change, and that's okay. I mean, gaming companies change and leave beloved games behind them. Oftentimes, it has to do with money and funding, right? But mainly, it has to do with innovation and staying up to date with what drives business and profits. Maybe Koei has big plans for future Warriors games, and the best is yet to come. But part of me feels the better Warriors days are unfortunately behind us. If Koei took this route with a shorter focused story and refined roster, a revamp might do the franchise some good. And it also might not be received well at all, of course, by fans. But I will say, a revamped art style similar to Samurai Warriors 5 could most definitely open the door for a 5th Orochi's game. Seeing as Samurai Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 9 don't have the same art style or really anything in common in general. A revamp or a shortened roster in Dynasty Warriors 10 could be what Koei needs for future collaborations between the Dynasty and Samurai Warriors series in general. Think about it. If they use this art style, which is kind of like more of an anime-ish type style, it could definitely open the door for other IPs to join the Muso Orochi universe, bringing along the lights of other Koei spin-off IPs like One Piece Pirate Warriors, which has a roster of roughly 52 characters to choose from, or Hyrule Warriors, which roughly 29, Fire Emblem, Token Rambu, heck, even Attack on Titan would be used to revitalize the Orochi's game. I think that's something that could definitely entertain the thought of. Maybe a game that features these kinds of anime-style characters along with Samurai Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 10 characters could be the future for Orochi games. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing ideas out there at this point. This is all my imagination talking, of course. We can all dream and hope for what's to come and carry our own opinions until we get definitive proof, of course, on what to expect for future Warriors games. But I believe Koei will do what's best in their interest and remain profitable in a competitive market, instead of adhering to a disgruntled fan base that is living off the glory days and coattails of older titles. Literally me. Whether you like this video or not, I'm sure we all can find common ground in something that we agree on as fans and gamers alike, like I said before. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video though, and I'm also kind of curious what your thoughts are for what Dynasty Warriors 10 could be. Theories are speculative and, quite frankly, for a reason. They drive discussion and discord in an environment with hopes of predicting what could happen on a given project. With all that being said, let me know what you think about the future of Warriors games and the future of Dynasty Warriors especially. Thanks again. See you in the next video.